Welcome to the Grief Guardian podcast. I am your host, Grant Cosgrove. During this podcast series, I will be guiding you through the hardest journey, life after losing a loved one, empowering resilience, healing, and hope, one step at a time. In today's podcast, we're exploring one of the many different types of grief. Grief is something we all experience at some point, but not all grief is the same. According to experts, there are up to 20 different types of grief that an individual may experience. Let's explore in this episode complicated grief. Understanding complicated grief. Complicated grief is also known as prolonged grief disorder. Grief is a deeply personal journey, and for many, time gradually softens the intensity of loss. But for some, grief remains unrelenting, overwhelming, and all-consuming, making it difficult to move forward. This is what we call complicated grief. If you or someone you love is struggling with a loss that still feels just as painful as the day it happened, this is for you. Let's explore what makes complicated grief different and how to find a path toward healing. What is complicated grief? Complicated grief is a persistent, intense form of grief that doesn't ease over time. Unlike typical grief, which gradually allows for moments of peace and acceptance, complicated grief keeps a person stuck in deep sorrow, making it difficult to function in daily life. It's as if the mind and heart refuse to accept the loss, leaving the person feeling like they're trapped in their grief. This condition was officially recognised as prolonged grief disorder in mental health studies, meaning it's not just grieving longer than normal, it's a distinct struggle that affects emotional, mental, and physical well-being. What are the signs and symptoms of complicated grief? Grief is natural, but when it becomes prolonged and interferes with life, it might be something more. Here are some key signs of complicated grief. Persistent, intense sorrow. The pain of the loss doesn't fade over time. Inability to accept the loss. Feeling stuck in denial or disbelief, even after months or years. Preoccupation with the deceased. Constant thoughts or yearning for the person, making it difficult to focus on anything else. Avoidance of reminders. Some people can't bear to see, hear, or talk about anything related to their loss. Extreme loneliness or isolation, pulling away from friends, family, and normal life. Loss of identity or purpose, feeling like life has no meaning without the person who passed. Difficulty imagining the future, a belief that happiness or normalcy is impossible without their loved one. Complicated grief isn't just about feeling sad for a long time, it's about being unable to process and integrate the loss into life in a way that allows healing to begin. What causes complicated grief? Complicated grief can develop due to a variety of factors, including 1. Sudden or traumatic loss. Unexpected deaths, accidents, suicide, or violent events can leave loved ones in shock and unable to process grief. 2. The loss of a child. The death of a child often leads to prolonged, unresolved grief because it feels unnatural. 3. Unresolved issues in the relationship. If there were conflicts, guilt, or unfinished conversations, grief may feel even heavier. 4. Lack of support system. When a person has no one to lean on, grief can become overwhelming. 5. Previous mental health struggles. A history of depression, anxiety, or trauma can make grief even harder to process. 6. Multiple losses. Experiencing several losses in a short period can make it difficult to grieve properly for each one. Complicated grief isn't a sign of weakness, it's the result of overwhelming emotional pain that hasn't found a path forward. What are the impacts of complicated grief? When grief becomes prolonged, it can affect every part of life. Here's how. Emotional impact, deep sadness, hopelessness, guilt, or even anger. Mental impact, difficulty concentrating, intrusive thoughts, or an inability to imagine life beyond the loss. Physical impact, sleep disturbances, fatigue, immune system weaknesses, or even chronic pain. Social impact: avoiding relationships, struggling with work, or withdrawing from activities once enjoyed. Spiritual impact: questioning faith, searching for meaning, or feeling disconnected from purpose. Left untreated, complicated grief can lead to severe depression, anxiety, or even thoughts of self-harm, which is why seeking help is essential. What are some common coping strategies for healing from complicated grief? If you or someone you love is struggling with complicated grief, know this: healing is possible. It takes time, effort, and support, but there are ways to move forward. 1. Seek professional grief therapy. Therapists trained in grief counselling can help process and reframe painful emotions. 2. Join a support group. Being with others who understand can ease feelings of isolation. 3. Allow yourself to grieve fully. Suppressing emotions only makes grief last longer. It's okay to cry, remember, and mourn. 4. Create new routines and rituals. Incorporating small daily habits that honour your loved one can help integrate the loss into life in a healthy way. 5. Express emotions through writing, art, or music. Finding creative outlets can provide relief and clarity. 6. Reconnect with the world. Engage in activities that bring even the smallest moments of joy. 7. Practice self-compassion. Don't rush yourself. Grief has no deadline. 8. Consider eye movement, desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR, or trauma therapy. If the loss was traumatic, specialized therapy may help release the emotional pain. Most importantly, reach out for support. You don't have to go through this alone. Complicated grief can feel like a never-ending storm, but even the longest storms eventually pass. If you're struggling, know that there is hope and there is help. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means finding a way to carry your love forward without being consumed by the pain. In the next episode, let's explore chronic grief. If you enjoyed this content, please follow me on my socials. You can find me on Facebook as The Grief Guardian and on Instagram as Grant_A_Cosgrove or by searching for The Grief Guardian. I'll include the links in the show notes. Feel free to reach out and connect with me or leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions. Are there any topics you'd like me to cover?